Joining us today for Steel Club's daily market briefing is Alessandro Sciamarelli. He is the Director of Market Analysis and Economic Studies for EUROFER in Belgium. Alessandro, we're glad to have you join us today for this Q&A session, and also thank you for taking this time to promote your company for the upcoming SMM2021 Q2 event in June. Let's discuss European steel, the steel market, and its general policies. How is the current market situation in your area?
Well, the market situation has recently improved. After the onset of a pandemic, obviously growth prospects for the steel market were slashed dramatically in Europe as well as in other major steel producing regions and major advanced economies. But then we've seen quite two strong rebounds over Q3 and Q4 2020 with apparent steel consumption going up compared to the previous quarter, but still in year-on-year terms turn out to report negative growth. However, in Q4 we've seen apparent steel consumption back to growth, albeit at very rather moderate rate, which is 3.3%, which is a good signal, paving a way for possible improvements over the next few quarters. So we foresee that the steel demand and the market conditions for steel in Europe should improve, not dramatically, but should improve together with the general recovery in the macroeconomic background, which is still lagging behind a little bit compared to the US and China and other regions, but is let's say is continuing, although it's still uncertain and hampered by uncertainty due to the ongoing pandemic, which is not over yet in Europe. So that's the background.
Okay, great. Give us your perspective on Euro steel.
On steel in Europe.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we've just published our quarterly market and economic outlook, which is available on our website, www.eurofer.eu, which provides a 2-year outlook for this year in 2022. And as I said, the most likely outlook which we see is a continued and moderate growth in apparent steel consumption, so rebounding demand driven primarily by the automotive sector, which has rebounded very strongly after the collapse in output due to the pandemic, but also thanks to positive contribution from construction sectors and other sectors, and domestic appliances in particular. So the pictures appear to be rather positive, but still it is influenced by ongoing uncertainty, which hasn't yet faded away across Europe, because, as you know, the industry has recovered and therefore steel demand has recovered, but there's still some uncertainty, which makes it relatively less easy to predict how things will evolve. But we are slightly optimistic for the very next few quarters, and we should be back to growth in 2021 in yearly terms with a strong rebound compared to 2020. We foresee a rebound of 11.7% in apparent steel consumption compared after the collapse of minus 11% in 2020. Yeah, the steel demand appears to be very much correlated to the general economic recovery, which is primarily driven by the industry. So this is more or less the outlook. But as we say, we still have to cope with major uncertainties over the horizon. So as long as the pandemic is not over yet and the economy will not be back to normal and to full speed, we will not see growth in steel consumption back to its potential. But however, the recovery from the losses experienced during the pandemic has already happened. So we're back on track, so to say, and we hope that this will continue also in 2022.
Okay, great. Talk to us about the time that you'll be taking to join us on SMM 2021 in June.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a pleasure for me. Yeah, it's not the first time I will be speaking there. For me, it's a great opportunity to be there, and I thank you again, you and the organizers, for inviting me to speak there.
Great. Any latest trends that your company has been experiencing that would impact the Euro steel industry in the near future?
Well, we are a European association, a trade association. On basically, EUROFER represents and groups Europe steel associations all over Europe from individual member states and also major companies such as ArcelorMittal, ThyssenKrupp, Tata Steel, and so on. So we're a trade association. Basically, what we've seen recently, as I've said, is basically the impact of the pandemic, which has obviously been something unprecedented and unforeseeable at least 1 year ago. And also we've seen some issues, coping with this very strong rebound in demand, particularly from automotive and other steel using sectors in Q3 and Q4 last year. So we had some problems in ramping up production up to the levels which were required to meet this rebound in demand. But then I think that these issues have been are almost over, and we are almost back on track to normal business conditions. So no major supply issues should be there over the next few months.
Great. And what would you say about your previous experience speaking at the past events of SMM 2021, of course, in Q1, and of course, you're now going to be attending in Q2?
Well, I think it was a real pleasure. It was I had opportunity to listen to other very interesting speakers, and the market conditions were already quite different the last time I was there, and things change very fast. So I'm really looking forward to listening to what other speakers have to say about general global market conditions for steel and other industrial indicators. So it's going to be very interesting.
Okay, great. Thank you kindly, Alessandro, for taking this time to promote your company and also your participation that's coming up in the SMM 2021 Q2 event in June. We thank you kindly for this time.
Thank you very much. Thanks to you. It's a pleasure.
Okay.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.